Okay, so welcome to my first ever Tekken guide. Today I'm going to be doing one on Nina. I'm not going to promise that I'm going to be doing these more often. I am an anime related channel, but I ran into Nina the other day on ranked and I had quite a bit of trouble because not really many people play Nina, you know. And when I went to the lab to see what exactly I got beaten by, turns out that I got beaten by some stuff that was pretty avoidable, and I'm sure that other people would like to see this guide as well. I ran into some issues going on YouTube to find the guide because I couldn't really find anything that was really helpful, because most of the guides were how to play Nina and not really anything about actually how to defend against her. Main man Sui has done a video on her. It was mostly about how Nina isn't as hard as people think at the lower level and intermediate level, and I feel that's not entirely true. I feel like Nina has above average difficulty even at the low and intermediate level, but I'd say she's just as hard to play as, not as hard, but I'd say she's about the same level as Hwoarang when it comes to utilizing her, though she might be a slight bit easier than Hwoarang since he has stance transitions to take care of. So anyways, we're going to take care of Nina today. She's an interesting character. She's very pressure heavy and string heavy, and the reason why she's not played at a very high level is because her pokes are very weak. See, she has very long strings that all have telegraphed, telegraphed uses, telegraphed openers, I should say. None of the strings really have a real mix-up. She has a 4-3-2 string which launches, and then she has a 4-3-4-3 string which leaves her at +2 on block. And she also has a down forward 3 string which is a mid into a high into a low. And she has a, I believe, back 3. I'm not too sure what the input is, but she twists around, she kicks with her 3 leg, with her with her left leg. And both of these strings are pretty easy to beat. All 3 of these strings actually are very easy to beat, as well as her 1-2-1-2-1 1+2 string. They're all fairly feasible to beat. Now, the way you beat these strings is kind of interesting as to most characters. Most characters, the way you beat their strings is you look for a high, or you look for a high to duck, or you look for a mid to step, which is mostly at the end of the string. For example, Lei's Razor Rush, which you step sideways in between the hits, and you eventually get out of it, and he is at a disadvantage. He doesn't get his stance mix up anymore. Nina is a bit different because you have to duck the high, but there might be a low coming, and if you block that low, she continues doing the string. She's not going to stop in the middle of it, and she's still going to end up plus on block if she does 3-4-3-4-3. I believe that is the string, the input for the string. If she does that, then she'll be plus on block. People tell you to step the last hit, but this is extremely hard to do, and I've tried it. And the biggest solution I could find is, if you see Nina do any kick whatsoever that is not a back kick, for example a kick where she's facing away, her body is facing away from the player, from your character, but she kicks back, that's a mid kick, that's a high kick, and then it goes into a mid, and that's punishable. I believe it's -13 or -14. It's punishable. But her other kick is a high. It starts with a magic 4, a high 4, and it goes into a low, a high, and then a mid, which is plus on block. And the other string is a side kick, which is a mid kick into a high into a low, which knocks you down. So the way you beat these strings is you have to duck the second hit. As soon as you see a kick coming out, you duck, and you're able to go for a while standing 4, or if you're really tight with it, you can go for a 13 frame launcher. If your character has it, like Josie or Kazuya does, you'll be able to launch the string pretty easily, because there's a distance of, I believe, I'll confirm this in the video itself, but I believe that there is 17 frames in between the magic 4 and the next hit, so you have on whiff a lot more frames to launch that, so it should be easily launchable even at a higher frame while standing punishes like Kazumi. As for the mid that goes into a high and into a low that knocks you down, that is the one where you duck, right? This is the one that I'm talking about. You duck where there's a space between the down forward 3 and the high. If she goes for the magic 4 combo, which is the magic 4 combo that goes high, low, high, mid, you must low parry. But in distinguishing between these strings is very difficult because they're both kicks. So the way you kind of visually beat it, or the way you actually feasibly beat it, is you need to duck while low parrying. So basically you duck while low parrying. You see if the high goes above your head, you go for while standing 4. If you get the low parry, you do your low parry combo, obviously. If you see them go for a back kick that is high, then you just hold back and it's going to be all mids and you can punish them. A weakness that Nina has is she's very weak to backdash. If you see her going for strings from a distance, it's very easy to whiff punish her with a long range punish. Usually your death fist punish will be the best one, though if you have other punishes that reach that far, you can go for it. For example, backdashing and whiff punishing is a good idea, because the thing about Nina is she doesn't really have anything that's good like long range. She only has her rage drive, which is good long range, and her rage art. They're both very, very, very long range, but other than that, she doesn't really have anything that's too good long range. Her down forward 1's range is really bad, so if you try and kind of pressure Nina, she's not really going to be able to do too much. But she also has moves that kind of crush evasion. She has 4 into a roll, which if you attack into that, then you might get launched for it on the side. She has back 1, which evades most jabs, and a lot of down forward 1's actually. But back 1 is minus 16 on block, so if you kind of just play defensively against Nina, there isn't too much she can do. She doesn't have a launching low. None of her lows are too strong, but she does have a powerful throw game. All of her throws out of her crouch dash, or her roll dash I should say, all the throws out of her roll dash actually lead into chain throws that are unidentifiable when it comes to the mix-up, just like King. The break on, she has actually 2 throws roll dash, which are either 1 or 2 break. So you have to actually visually look at it, and you can't really step her roll dash because you're gonna get hit by the quarter circle forward 1 plus 2. Which, if she goes for quarter circle forward 1, which is a mid, and then goes for the quarter circle forward 1 plus 2, which is homing, you can duck the 2 high hits that are 1 plus 2, and you can launch. So Nina is all about just knowing which strings you can duck and which strings you can just hold back and punish. You know, a lot of mids are actually punishable, unironically, extremely punishable. Like, not extremely punishable, but every single one of her mids are punishable. You don't even need to worry about stepping them because most of them are minus 10 at the very least on block. Only her down forward 1 is minus 1 on block, and I'm sure she's got other moves that are not minus 10 on block, but I'm sure there's like other issues with the moves, for example range, or the tracking is really bad, or you know. But all of her common moves, all of her common mids, like her power crush and her down forward 2 and her back 1, all of these mids are extremely punishable. Now, if you're not too sure like how good a Nina is, if they're just gonna run up to you and spam strings, then you have to look at their backdash. See, Nina has a sway back, which also gives her a chain grab, but this chain, you don't really need to worry about this chain grab. It can't even be used at the wall because the range is so bad because she sways back first. So the only way you can get hit by this is if you run up and get grabbed by it. Now, I'm not too sure on the break for this move because I don't think it's really 100% relevant, but I'll test it out and I'll put it up on screen after this recording. So yeah, the approach to beating Nina is really to just like Super Akuma says, just backdash, bro. If you backdash a little bit, then you should be able to get out of range of most of her strings, unless you're at the wall, in which case you obviously can't backdash, so you're gonna have to use this down forward motion, this low parry crouch I should say, whenever she starts to do her strings, and you have to visually see it. If she goes for a back 3, I believe it's back 3 into the rest of the combo, or it's down back 3, I'm not too sure what the input is, but it looks like a twisted back kick. You just hold back. There's no mix up there. It's gonna end up minus and it's your turn. You might even get a knockdown if you're playing Kazumi or another Mishima or Jin. The way to gauge a Nina player's strength is you have to look at their backdash, because Nina has a sway back. So just like with Brian's, the way you gauge their strength is how good are they at backdashing. If they're getting sway backs while backdashing, you immediately know that they're a lower execution player. So that means getting launched by Nina isn't that horrible of an outcome, because she's not going to get the max damage combos, because those take extremely high execution. Speaking of getting launched by Nina, you don't need to really be scared to risk things. For example, if you're going to risk being minus 15, you can do it as long as you do it kind of far, because her down forward 2's range is absolutely atrocious. It's not as bad as her down forward 1, but it's worse than Leo's down forward 2, which is saying a lot. Leo's another character that struggles with range. though he's got tools, or she, whatever, they've got tools to handle people who are just backdashing, you know. Whereas Nina doesn't really have anything too much like that. Her throw game out of crouch dash, you just pay attention. You know immediately it's 1 or 2. So, and the follow-up chain grabs are a mix-up. Obviously, there's no tip I can really give you here besides just choose a button. So just kind of like hold back. It's like Brian, if you're able to block his snake edges, you just hold back, and there isn't really too much that he can do to you unless they're able to use taunt jet upper. And the same principle applies here to Nina. If you just hold back and you know how to beat the 2-3 strings that she uses, then there's nothing she can really do to you. And beating her strings isn't even as hard as blocking a snake edge, I would say. However, Nina does have the perfume spray, which breaks your guard and allows her to launch you, though its execution is very, very hard, and launching out of it is also very difficult, similar to taunt jet upper, though nobody really talks about it as much because nobody really plays Nina as much. So yeah, basically the gist of it is just backdash, hold back if she goes for a back turned 3, or if she goes for a back kick 3. If she goes for a high kick, a magic 4 combo, if she goes for the magic 4 string, you duck and you low parry. At the same time, if she goes for a down forward 3 mid kick into a high, into a low, you duck and launch, because the distance, you duck and go for magic 4, because the distance between the high that comes afterwards and the low is actually pretty small considering all things. Some people can launch it, those who have 13 frames can launch it, and those who don't have 13 frame launchers out of while standing can only get while standing 4, you know. But people like Hwoarang and Kazumi have Hwoarang, Kazumi, and Leo have extremely strong while standing 4s. So you should rejoice if you're using those characters against Nina. So yeah, thanks for watching. I don't really have too many more plans to make more videos like this. I might make more videos like this in the future, but it's not really my area of expertise, I should say. But if you like the video, you can subscribe. I do weekly videos on all things weeby, including video games and all sorts of anime. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have any criticisms, leave them down below in the comments. If I got anything wrong, flame me in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.